first type of polymorphism you can say is function overloading. Okay, so just try to relate this concept with a real world example. Okay, why do we need these polymorphisms and all that? So there are three types. This is just one case study. Okay, so in this case study, this case study is about finding gross pay. Okay, so there are three types of employees in Indian Railways. They are regular, daily wages, and consolidated employees. Gross pay for the employees are calculated as follows. So different types of employees are there, and for three different employees, gross pay salary calculation would be different. For regular employees, it will be calculated as per this formula. For daily wages, worker which are working on daily wages, it will be calculated using this formula, wages per hour into number of hours. And then consolidated, some fixed amount is there. No HRA DA calculation is there. Consolidated is some fixed like 50,000 per month. So even if DA increases, whatever impact is there, that impact won't be there on the consolidated. Okay, fixed amount. If it is 50,000, so every month that person will get 50,000 only. So consolidated. So three different types of calculation for gross pay in the same organization. Okay. So in this case, first, have you understood the problem statement? Have you understood the problem statement? What we are doing here? Yes, anyone can answer this. So what we are trying to do here? Yes. This problem statement is to calculate what? Okay, everyone attend your roll calls. Roll number 1.
Present, ma'am.
2.
Present, ma'am.
3.
Present, ma'am.
4.
Present, ma'am.
16.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. 37.
Present, ma'am.
42. 42.
Present, ma'am.
65. 65. अच्छा इसने ऑन करके रखा है बस. 69.
Present, ma'am.
72.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. So my question was, have you understood the problem statement? What we are supposed to calculate here?
Yes, ma'am.
What
We
is
have
it?
to find the gross pay.
Yes, gross pay. So here, like what difference is there in this calculation and what common points are there? What is the common point here? What is the common point here? That we need to find out the gross pay. Okay, for all these categories of employees, we need to calculate the gross pay. So that is the common point. And what differences are there in this calculation? What are the differences while calculating gross pay? See, here we will understand polymorphism.
Calculation and changes regarding with the time and other things. Means in the consolidated, there is a fixed amount. It is not distracted by or deflected by anything. It is fixed in daily wastage. There are two factors which are affecting that.
Correct.
Which is wages per hour and number of hours.
Right.
And in regular employees, it is dependent on basic HRA and DA percentage.
Right. So can we say that now See, here I am explaining you polymorphism. उसका एक मतलब significance समझना है पहले. Okay, why do we need polymorphism? So you will be able to relate with the help of this example. So listen carefully. The common point here is we are calculating the gross pay. So that is the common point. Okay, which are the differences or which are the unique points here? For regular employees, we need to calculate with the help of this formula. So the calculation formula that we are using will be different for each of this. That is the difference, first difference. Okay, कि ये फॉर्मूला सबके लिए बदल रहा है, मतलब implementation of that you can say function or that calculation is different. Okay, so calculation is different. Second important point is, as he has explained, just who answered this? May I know your name?
Ritik, ma'am.
Ritik, huh? Just as explained by Ritik, that for calculation also we are using different parameters here. Like for regular employees, we are using this input, basic, HRA and DA. For a daily wages worker, we are using these two parameters, number of hours and wages per hour. Okay, or this is called as rate per hour. Okay, or wages per hour. And for consolidated, it is only one single input. Okay, so here the common point is we are calculating the gross pay, whereas the difference while calculating is that for depending on the type, the calculation formula will be different. That is first difference. Second difference is the input will be different. For each of this function, input will be different. Okay, so here we can say that input components for calculating gross pay is the input. Okay, what is the output of this function? Gross pay. Okay, and the logic involved will be based on the type of employee. Okay, so input, output and logic. While writing the function, what we need? Input, output and logic involved. Okay, so here mainly we could say that there is difference in input. Input मध्ये काय difference है? Like here we need basic, HRA and DA. Here we need these two parameters as input, and here we need this one parameter. So input is different. What about output? Output is same. It is gross pay. What output we'll get from this function? Just gross pay. Okay. Output is same. Whereas logic involved, the implementation part would be different. Logic involved is what? This formula. Implementation of this formula would be different. Okay. So in this case, we can say that we are writing a function called as calculate gross pay. Okay, we are writing the function called as gross pay, calculate gross pay, but whereas its implementation is different everywhere. Implementation, why I am saying implementation difference? Because calculation, this formula will be different for each of this. Okay, but the name of that function would be same, that is calculate gross salary. Yes, for everyone we are calculating gross salary only, but implementation is different and inputs would be different. Okay. So this is about case study. Okay, ये case study के बारे में हमने discuss किया. Now let us come back to our function. Okay, function. This we are trying to implement this with the help of function. Okay, so related to function, we need to understand few points here. Same function name for all three types of employees. है ना? अगर हम यहाँ पे calculate हम क्या कर रहे हैं? Gross pay. तो what should be the name of that function? Calculate gross pay. है ना? Name of that function should be calculate gross pay. Because generally while writing function we have learned that we should give meaningful name to variables as well as function. तो इसका meaningful name क्या हो गया? Calculate gross pay. Okay, for all these three functions, maybe it is for regular employee, daily wages or consolidated, but name would remain calculate gross pay. Okay, so more meaningful and elegant way of doing this is I prefer name calculate gross pay for all types of employees. The name of the function would be calculate gross pay. Now here the concept of polymorphism comes into picture. Polymorphism matlab one name having many forms. Okay, or one interface doing multiple action. So here, one name and many forms. So one name is what we are saying, calculate gross pay. Okay, and for each of these, what do you say, types of employee, gross pay calculation would be different. हम common function नहीं लिख सकते. So for everyone we are saying calculate gross pay. Okay, for all three function, the name would be calculate gross pay. Just a moment. Open one whiteboard now. Name of the function is calculate gross. Now, in this function, can I write the common logic? Is it possible? For every employee, the calculation formula is also different and input will also be different. है ना? हर एक के लिए input भी common नहीं है. If you observe here, input is for this, when it is regular employee, input would be basic, HRA and DA. अगर वो daily wages का है तो ये दोनों input है. So my question is, can we write a common function over here? एक common function हो सकता है जिसमें सारे input ले ले हम. Is it possible? यहाँ पे calculation के लिए, if it is a regular employee, we need basic, HRA and DA. Basic, HRA and DA. So this will be the input if it is regular employee. दूसरा employee कौन सा है हमारा? Daily wages के लिए. For daily wages also, what we are trying to do? We are calculating gross pay. लेकिन यहाँ पे input क्या होना चाहिए? We are calculating gross pay based on the wages per hour, that is rate, we'll call it as, and number of hours. तो पहला input होगा rate and the second is number of hours. Okay, so based on this, it will be calculated. Okay, and for the third one, that is consolidated, again for consolidated type of employee also we are calculating the same thing. तो नाम तो अलग नहीं हो सकता ना. See, when we are saying we are adding things, so we are adding things irrespective of whether it is integer number or float or double, any type, but adding is adding. So similarly, calculating gross pay is calculating gross pay. Okay, maybe it is for different type of employees. तो इसके लिए input क्या होगा? If it is consolidated, it is fixed amount. तो input for this will be fixed amount. ठीक है? Now, second important thing, the calculation formula. Okay, so here the calculation formula is, wait a minute, I'll copy it from here. So here I'll call it as gross pay equal to, and that formula. I have to write it properly as per syntax. I'm just copying it as it is. Yes, a percentage of DA नहीं लिख सकते. We have to actually calculate that percent. है ना? I hope you understand that. So then for this again, the formula would be different. It is just calculation of these two, na? So we'll calculate it like this. Control C. Okay, and here the gross pay would be equal to what? Directly this amount. Whatever is a fixed amount is same will be assigned to gross pay. Okay, so if you observe this, as I told you, the calculation part is like, or the function name is same. We are calculating the gross pay. So for all three categories of employees, we are calculating gross pay only, but the formula is different. So implementation of this is different, है कि नहीं? इसके लिए अलग implementation है, इसके लिए अलग implementation है, और इसके लिए अलग implementation है. Then second thing is, for this implementation we need some input. तो इसका input भी अलग हो गया. Yes. For this also, for this implementation we need rate and number of hours. तो इसके लिए input भी अलग हो गया. For here input is different. So what do you observe here? Tell me. What do you observe here? See, we need to learn this concept. मतलब lifelong learning होना चाहिए. हमें रट्टा नहीं मारना है. So
We
tell
have
me.
to pass different parameters.
Yes, that is the first thing, है ना? First difference is we need to pass different input parameter. तो आपके input parameter हर एक जगह पे बदल गए, right? Second important thing. The calculation is, yes,
Different for all.
yes, calculation will be different. तो इस calculation को हम function definition कह सकते हैं. Can we call it as function definition? This is function body or function definition, है ना? This is definition of function or function body, right ना? Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
हाँ, तो this function definition or function body will be different for each of this function. But what is the common thing here? The function name is common. Function name क्यों common रखना है? हम रख सकते थे यहाँ पे 1 2 3. हम generally क्या करते हैं? 1 2 3. तो अलग हो गए function. Are we satisfying the condition now? Compiler को problem नहीं होगा अभी इसके साथ?
Yes, ma'am.
होगा, है ना? नहीं होगा प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि we made the difference. But in real world what we have seen, object oriented programming is to help to implement the real world entities as it is in the programming language. जो real world में दिखता है, we are trying to implement in the programming language. So do we say in real world calculate gross pay 1, calculate gross pay 2? Do we say like that? We say
No.
calculate gross pay, है कि नहीं? Do you agree with this? Agree with
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
Yes. So in real world, as I told you, we say addition. Addition है तो addition है. भाई अब integer add करो, you add float, you add double, any type of number. But addition is addition. We can't say addition 1, addition 2, addition 3. है कि नहीं? In real world, we don't use 1, 2, 3 kind of things. So here also, to map the real world things, I can't use 1, 2, 3, na? Okay. So what I want, function name should be same, but input parameters are different. And as well as its implementation is also different. Okay, then I can satisfy the requirement of this case study. This case study की requirement जो भी है, the program which I need to write for this particular problem statement, I can satisfy that condition with this. Okay, by keeping the function name same, but input parameters different and implementation is different. Okay, लेकिन आपका compiler allow करेगा ये? Can your compiler allow this? Can you write a function with the same name everywhere? 3 function मैंने लिखे हैं with same name. Is it allowed in C language?
No.
No, it is not allowed in C language, है ना? आप एक ही function का नाम बार-बार use करोगे, you will get error in C language. But whereas in C++, it allows it. It allows it. लेकिन problem क्या था? Why C was not allowing this? Why C was not allowing this? There must be some issue ना कि उसमें allow नहीं किया था. वो क्या था issue? क्यों नहीं allow करता है C language ये?
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity? Yes, because same function है, and if you try to call that function from main, तो it will create ambiguity कि कौन से calculate gross pay को हम call करें. But in C++, that is resolved. That question, that particular problem is resolved in C++. What C++ tells you, that if you give unique signature to a function, then in that case, you can use the same function name. Function name same हो सकता है, लेकिन उसका signature unique चाहिए. Now, what is signature? what is your signature? Can you say, मतलब एक person का signature, can you say its identity, person की identity, signature of a person is person's identity. Okay, so similarly, what is function signature? function की identity. ओके तो फंक्शन की आइडेंटिटी किन चीजों से हो सकती है? आइदर उसका नेम, तो नेम यूनिक चाहिए, और उसके इनपुट पैरामीटर्स, तो उसके अगर इनपुट पैरामीटर डिफरेंट है, देन ऑल्सो विल कॉल दैट फंक्शन एज यूनिक विथ यूनिक सिग्नेचर. ओके, सो कंडीशन यहाँ पे क्या है? व्हाट इज सिग्नेचर? फर्स्ट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज सिग्नेचर ऑफ अ फंक्शन. सिग्नेचर ऑफ अ फंक्शन इज its name combined with its input parameter. This one single line, ये जो लाइन आपको दिख रही है ना, उसका नाम और उसके input parameter. So this thing is called as signature of the function. So if signature of the function is unique, in that case C++ compiler is allowing you to create functions with the same name. उसका सिग्नेचर अलग होना चाहिए. तो सिग्नेचर मतलब आइदर उसका नाम अलग होना चाहिए और उसके इनपुट पैरामीटर अलग होने चाहिए. अब यहाँ पे क्या है, हमने कॉमन नेम यूज किया है फंक्शन के लिए, बट वी आर यूजिंग डिफरेंट इनपुट पैरामीटर, तो देन इट इज अलाउड इन C++. उसका सिग्नेचर अलग होना चाहिए. सिग्नेचर इज व्हाट? सिग्नेचर ऑफ अ फंक्शन इज signature of function is what? It's an important point. Is name of function, okay, and the input parameter list. This combined thing is called as signature of a function. उस function का नाम and its input parameter. So this thing is called as function signature. Now, have I added the return type here? कि एक का return type होगा void, एक का होगा integer. So return type is not considered as the signature of the function. Make this point very clear. Return type of function is not considered as the signature of the function. Signature of the function में दो ही चीजें contribute करती है, name of the function and input parameter. Okay, this is called as signature of the function. So I haven't mentioned the return type. Return type can be same or different. It doesn't matter. Return type को signature नहीं बोलते हैं. That is not a unique identity of a function. Unique identity function की उसका नाम और उसके input parameter. So either the difference should be there in the name. अगर name same है तो उसके किस में difference चाहिए? Input parameter में difference चाहिए. Okay, so these are the rules with C++. Now again coming back to our example, coming back to case study. देखो ये case study है. Problem statement is one thing, और problem statement को हमारे programming language में बिठाना is different thing. वो syntax issues है. तो syntax issue हमें क्या बोलता है कि syntax of C++ compiler tells us that कि signature अलग कैसे होगा function का? Either name should be different or input parameter should be different. So are we satisfying this criteria over here in this example? हमारे signature unique है function के. Are we satisfying that criteria?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How we are satisfying? Though the name is same, but input parameters are different. So there is a unique identity to this, all these functions. Though name is same, but its input parameter are different. So these function can be uniquely identified with their signature now. तो अभी ambiguity का question रहेगा compiler को? No. No, there is no ambiguity question because C++ is allowing you कि उसका नाम एक तो बदलो, नहीं तो उसके input parameter बदलो. With that, I will be able to uniquely identify them. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Why do we need this polymorphism? इसी को polymorphism. See, polymorphism is what? Same name but multiple forms. है ना, मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स. अब यहाँ पे हमने क्या किया है? मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स ऑफ ग्रॉस कैलकुलेट ग्रॉस पे, इसके मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स क्रिएट कर लिए. नेम ऑफ द फंक्शन इज सेम बट इट हैज गॉट डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स. सिंपल एग्जांपल इन रियल वर्ल्ड वी कैन से फ्लाई, फ्लाइंग. तो birds के लिए भी we call it as flying, flight के लिए भी we call it as flying. Okay, but the implementation would be different for that object. Okay, but in real world we use the same terminology or the same words, so same thing we want to implement in the programming language. Okay, the nomenclature, same nomenclature we are following here also, but its implementation would be different. This is nothing but polymorphism. Is it clear with example?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So now coming back to this discussion, we'll give the same name to all the function calculate gross pay. That is one name having polymorphism ka meaning one name having multiple forms. Okay. In C++ polymorphism, we can have either static polymorphism or dynamic, or this is also called as compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Static is compile time, dynamic is runtime polymorphism. Okay, तो ये कोई भी वर्ड्स यूज कर सकते हैं. C++ implements static polymorphism through overloaded functions or overloaded operator, which is called as function overloading and operator overloading. तो स्टैटिक या कंपाइल टाइम पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म के दो टाइप्स है. फर्स्ट वन इज फंक्शन ओवरलोडिंग, सेकंड वन इज ऑपरेटर ओवरलोडिंग. ओके, एंड जस्ट नाउ which फॉर्म वी हैव डिस्कस, फंक्शन ओवरलोडिंग, है ना. एक फंक्शन के मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स हमने क्रिएट कर दिए. फंक्शन नेम इज सेम बट इट्स इंप्लीमेंटेशन इज डिफरेंट. सो वन नेम ऑफ द फंक्शन एंड मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स. ओके, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज फंक्शन ओवरलोडिंग. अब फंक्शन ओवरलोडिंग क्यों बोलते हैं? बिकॉज वी आर ओवरलोडिंग इट ना. अगर मैं कैलकुलेट ग्रॉस पे, आई एम कॉलिंग दिस फंक्शन फॉर एग्जांपल. ओके, बेस्ड ऑन विच इनपुट पैरामीटर आई एम पासिंग, so based on that it will calculate one of these function. तीनों function तो call नहीं होंगे, either it will call this function, this or this. At one point in time one of these function will be called. तो जो जितने इनपुट पैरामीटर हम यहाँ से पास करेंगे, बेस्ड ऑन दैट करस्पॉन्डिंग फंक्शन विल बी कॉल्ड. तो अदर टू फंक्शंस विल बी ओवरलोडेड, है ना. ऑलरेडी all three are there, but one of that function will overload the other one based on which function gets a call. अगर मान लो ये आपका यहाँ से आप मेन फंक्शन, you are writing main over here, say for example, int main, and in this main program, if I am calling this function, so if I am calling this particular function, okay, with 3 input parameter, मैंने basic भी pass किया है, say for example 20,000. चारे मैं ऐसे ही randomly ले रही हूँ. Just 3 input parameters are passed over here. Okay, so 3 input parameter, that means what? Now it is calling which function calculate gross pay, but I'm passing 3 input parameters, so compiler will resolve this ambiguity and it will call which function? The first one. क्योंकि इसके, see here we need to mention data type also, मतलब यहाँ पे int, float, whatever is there, but just that data type should also be mentioned. You all are aware about it. Just to understand that concept, I'm saying that. Okay, तो आपको ये भी है कि like that also you need to mention उसके data type. int da generally basic float में होता है, तो we'll call it as float, है ना. So now while passing the input parameter, the first parameter should be a float parameter. So here I'll pass some float value. The second one is integer and third one is integer. So now compiler will understand कि हम कौन सा combination call कर रहे हैं with float, integer, integer. तो यहाँ पे float, integer, integer वाला कौन सा combination है? The first one, float, integer, integer. Okay, so it will call this function, it will execute it, and then finally यहाँ से हमें return करना है ये gross पे. Okay, so this is how the ambiguity is resolved over here. Okay, and this is called as function overloading, क्योंकि एक ही function का नाम है, but it's with its different signature we can uniquely identify it. Okay, So it is polymorphism. It is derived from Greek, you say language, okay, and many forms. The name is the meaning is many forms. Single name can be used for different purposes. Different ways of achieving polymorphism is function overloading, operator overloading, and these two are static binding or compile time binding, and third one is dynamic binding. Okay, so one by one we need to discuss all these three types of polymorphism. Okay, so what is overloading? A name having two or more distinct meaning. Name is same, but its meaning is distinct or different. Okay. Overloaded function is function having more than one distinct meaning. मतलब function का नाम same है, लेकिन उसका meaning is different. Then it is called as function overloading. And operator overloading भी when two or more distinct meanings are given to one single operator. एक ही ऑपरेटर है लेकिन उसका मीनिंग अलग कर दिया, तो देन इट इज कॉल्ड एज ऑपरेटर ओवरलोड. Okay, so this is overloading. Like operator overloading is inbuilt in C and C++. Like inbuilt भी कुछ कहीं पे हम यूज करते हैं overloaded operators. We don't know, but we are using it. Okay, like minus, this particular operator can be used as unary as well as binary. हमें किसी को negative value देनी है, so can we say a is equal to minus a? What is the meaning of that? कि a की value अगर 10 है तो now it will become minus 10. Okay, so that is unary operator, and same operator we are using for binary as binary operator also. A is equal to a, say b minus c. Okay, then it will be treated as a binary operator. तो एक ऑपरेटर को हमने दो मीनिंग दे दी है. एक वन मीनिंग इज कि जस्ट उसकी वैल्यू निगेटिव करनी है. सेकंड मीनिंग इज एक्चुअली सब्ट्रैक्टिंग द वैल्यूज. देन इट विल बी ट्रीटेड एज ए बाइनरी ऑपरेटर. लेकिन ऑपरेटर तो एक ही यूज कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उसके अलग अलग मीनिंग निकलते हैं बेस्ड ऑन, लाइक हियर लाइक इफ आई से माइनस ए, इसका मीनिंग क्या हो गया कि दिस इज यूनरी ऑपरेटर. अगर मैंने ऐसे कर दिया कि b और a इज इक्वल टू माइनस ए, व्हाट डज इट मीन? a में अगर 10 वैल्यू होगा तो अभी जाएगा -10, तो इट इज यूनरी ऑपरेटर. एंड सिमिलरली इफ आई से b minus c, so now this same operator will be treated as a binary operator and it will be used for subtraction. Now this is subtraction and this is just the value will be अगर -10 होगा तो 10 हो जाएगा, या 10 है तो -10 हो जाएगा. Okay, then it will be treated as a unary operator. So this is also polymorphism कि एक ही ऑपरेटर को हमने दो अलग मीनिंग दे दी है. यहाँ पे अलग मीनिंग है, यहाँ पे अलग मीनिंग है, ऑपरेटर तो सेम है. Then can we call this case also as a polymorphism? Yes. तो कुछ चीजें कंपाइलर, आपका खुद का कंपाइलर भी polymorphism यूज करता है. Inbuilt polymorphism is also available in C as well as C++. Okay. Similarly, if you have observed this star हम multiplication के लिए भी यूज करते हैं, pointers के लिए भी यूज करते हैं, right? Then also these insertion and extraction operator, ये लेफ्ट शिफ्ट राइट शिफ्ट ऑपरेटर जैसे भी यूज होते हैं, और आपके सी इन सी आउट के साथ वो, देन इट इज कॉल्ड एज इंसर्शन एंड एक्सट्रैक्शन ऑपरेटर. सी इन सी आउट में भी यूज करते हैं हम ये, और लेफ्ट शिफ्ट राइट शिफ्ट ऑपरेटर करके भी यूज करते हैं. सो सेम ऑपरेटर यूज फॉर मल्टीपल पर्पसेस, सो दैट इज आल्सो पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म. ओके, so this is nothing but polymorphism. Okay, and which form of polymorphism is this? Operator overloading. एक ऑपरेटर को मल्टीपल मीनिंग देना is operator overloading. एक फंक्शन को मल्टीपल मीनिंग देना is function overloading. Is it clear to everyone? What is polymorphism? Same name है and we are giving multiple meanings to that. That is polymorphism. Okay, the meaning is many forms. Polymorphism का actual meaning है many forms. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is very important concept, polymorphism. So your attendance is marked here. Okay, in case if you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, you can leave the classroom. Yes, your next lecture would be there. So thank you everyone. In case if you have any doubt, feel free to ask it out. Otherwise, you can leave the classroom. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you everyone.